My name is Justin, and this is Ryan, and he's my right-hand man, and my sidekick. And we're in a band together. Not that kind of band! The kind of band that has performed thousands of shows all over the world, including 3,000 shows on the Las Vegas Strip. What are you doing? Not that kind of Vegas, this kind of Vegas. Now we turn our attention to doing good in the world, spreading our love, and inspiring others. So, welcome to our world of chaos
and kindness.
You were late.
Sorry.
On this episode of Chaos and Kindness, we go to the home of an amazing woman who has adopted several children with unique and difficult needs.
He will never be able to walk or talk or eat by mouth.
We hear her story and meet these amazing children and do our best to bring a smile to their faces. Today, we visit the home of an amazing woman. She's actually been a friend of mine for several years, and I followed her journey through Instagram.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
Her name is Becky, and her and her husband have adopted and fostered children for over 10 years. I've never really truly had the opportunity to meet them and to hear their story. So today, Ryan, myself, and Tony are gonna go venture to her house, meet her children, and see what makes her story absolutely special. They're like lined up, ready to hang out.
This is how we hang out.
You guys look happy today.
Say hi.
What's up, buddy?
Hi.
Becky and her husband have spent over 10 years fostering and adopting children, each with their own special need.
So this is Liam. He is almost 2. He'll be 2 in April. We've had him since he was 5 months old. And that is Mackenzie, and she is 5.5 years old, and we've had her since she was 4 months old. I have 4 children, biological children, and my 4th child, whose name was Ben, was born in 2002, and he lived to the age of 8. We found just a lot of joy, you know, as hard as it was, and I mean, of course you want normal, healthy kids, but for our situation, you know, he taught us a lot that other kids wouldn't have been able to teach us, and we found that we had a lot of joy taking care of him and a lot of good experiences that it made me want to do it with other kids as well. A couple years ago decided that, you know, I'd let my foster license lapse and kind of just be settled with the kids that we had, which was 7, so I mean, not a small number. So it was a year ago in October. My old case worker called us and she told us that there was this baby. That's all she said, was it was a 5-month-old baby, and I was like, Linda, we're done. We were, you know, my license is lapsed, and she's like, I know, but I told this agency, we know this angel family, and found out the information. It's a boy, and his name is Benjamin, which was my son's name, born in the same month. And so it was like I just started bawling, and I sent that information to my husband, and he sent me a text back, and he's like, I'm crying, and I was like, I know, guess we're getting a baby. So we felt like he was meant to be here, but we did change his name to Liam, and his middle name we kept as Benjamin, so in honor of our son.
It's really clear how big the hearts of Becky and her husband are, and the challenges that they choose to take on are just so incredibly admirable.
So Liam was born with schizencephaly and polymicrogyria. So we have all the folds in our brain. So this is too many. He has too many folds. So it's a severe neurological issue that he has, and he will never be able to walk or talk or eat by mouth. So yeah, so he's complete care.
So what's Mackenzie's condition?
So she has a rare syndrome called OHDO, OHDO.
How rare is it?
Like 300 cases known worldwide.
Ever?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Like if you look at her eyes, it kind of they have like these smaller eyes, and then a bulbous nose and some hypoplastic teeth that go along with it. She has a hole in her heart. A lot of the kids sometimes start with G-tubes but end up eating by mouth, but she'll never be able to eat by mouth. She's a little bit more on the severe side of her syndrome.
Mackenzie's a handful, huh?
Yeah.
I feel like you're always in the hospital with Mackenzie.
Yeah.
I feel like every time I see you,
Yes.
on social media. Mackenzie's in the hospital or Joe's in the hospital. Between those two,
Yes. I would say she probably is more, but he's a close second.
I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that you spend 100 days a year.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Like how often do you feel like you're in?
So winter is like, that's just the time. Like perpetual cold from like October to like May. And her cold will kind of, like she's always got a runny nose and congested. And then it kind of like gets worse where she'll need a hospital stay. And then it gets better. So she's kind of like that all the way through the winter.
Can she see?
So yes. So she doesn't use her vision per se. She uses more like touch. Like if you shake a toy, she doesn't turn to look at it. She'll reach with her hand.
Right. And then about hearing, she can hear.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She's. Come get it. Come get it. She gets mad when I take it.
How old is she?
She's 5. Come get it. Where is it? Where is it?
And what's her life expectancy?
So I don't know. I mean, I think because of her like pretty severe respiratory issues that she has, that like a good pneumonia could take her life. Back in the day, like with Ben, they told us he wouldn't live very long, but he lived till he was 8. And with Liam, I mean, I think if you take good care of these kids, they literally live on love. They just thrive. So he's very responsive to people talking to him and just paying attention to him.
Yeah, he was smiling right away when we started talking to him. Liam!
Yes. You love attention.
Liam,
Hi.
what's up, buddy? What's up, buddy?
He loves attention.
These kids are so adorable. They deserve every ounce of energy and love and compassion that they get from Becky and her family. It's amazing. These kids warm my heart.
You like look away from him for a few minutes and he starts crying. And as soon as you like pay attention to him, that's what he does. He loves the attention.
What's astonishing to me is that like, as like a father, you always like the worst fear is losing your kids. Mm-hmm. And you're adopting children that that you're gonna fall in love with and you're gonna lose them. And so you feel like you're always burying children. What does that do to your mental state?
So, yeah, people have asked me that before, and I guess like I like to live in the day, like in the moment, and not worry about the future because I know it's gonna happen. But you know what? I could lose any of my other kids that don't have these issues. So, life is not a guarantee, and you don't know how long you'll have your kids. And so, for me, because of like how much joy they bring to our lives and like what a privilege it is to take care of them, it's worth it. But it's not something that, I mean, it's always like in the back of my heart knowing that someday that I have to bury them. But it's still like, to me, it's worth it. I would adopt a whole lot more if I had the space and capability, but 3's a good handful. So are you a handful?
Coming up after the break, we meet Joe and learn his story.
He was born severely premature, like 22 weeks. Do you love me? Yes. Do you love me?
Today we're in the household of a superhero. Her name is Becky, and her and her husband have adopted and fostered children for over 10 years. Now they have these amazing 3 special needs children who live in their house. We had an opportunity to meet 2 of them. Don't go anywhere. I know you're trying to escape. Don't go anywhere. Mackenzie, keep an eye on your brother over here, okay? Now let's go meet the 3rd. His name is Joe. Joe!
Hey, buddy.
What's up, buddy? Joe's got like a little mustache going. You have to shave him?
Yes.
You have to shave his mustache?
Yeah, 14.
You're 14.
He's Dominican, so.
Oh, you're 14. You're starting to cause trouble, buddy?
We got him when he was 6 years old. He's actually a twin. So his mom and dad are from Uruguay and the Dominican. They did not have the capability to take care of him. He was born severely premature, like 22 weeks, 24 weeks. And because of that, he has what's called periventricular leukomalacia. That is basically a deterioration of the white brain matter, but his most significant issue is that his bowels, his small intestines, there were parts of it that had necrotized, so they died. So then he had a colostomy bag. That's where he would go to the bathroom. And so when we got him at 6, he liked that sound. Joe loves music, he loves all that.
Much like Liam and Mackenzie, Joe needs around-the-clock care. He needs to be fed, showered, changed. He needs care and compassion just as much as they do.
He's actually, it's got to a point where it's really hard to take him out because his left hip is pretty bad. Say hi,
Does he like
now
that?
you're smiling. He just likes the noises.
Well, here, I can make some music with my mouth. You want to hear it?
Yes.
Do you like music?
He loves stories, he loves music,
Yeah.
he loves attention, just like Liam.
It's really interesting because as human beings, we can talk and we can communicate, we can laugh, we can cry, and we can tell you what the problem is. Liam, Mackenzie, and Joe don't have that ability, but yet, if you look closely, the nuances in their facial expressions and the way they communicate is through laughing, crying, their eyes. They're 100% there, they're completely engaged, and that's what makes it so beautiful. You guys have, you and your husband have just miraculously adopted these children that are not yours and not your responsibility to, and has given you this immense amount of purpose in your life.
Yeah.
It's absolutely mind-blowing to me. Coming up after the break, Ryan and I do what we do best, perform, and these kids loved it.
Do you love me? Yes. Do you love me?
Today we're in the household of a superhero. Her name is Becky, and her and her husband have adopted and fostered children for over 10 years. You and your husband have just miraculously adopted these children that are not yours and not your responsibility to, and has given you this immense amount of purpose in your life.
Yeah.
It's absolutely mind-blowing to me. You can tell by looking around that their entire lives, Becky and her husband, is predicated around helping these children.
Looking around, it felt less like a home and more like a hospital. There were special chairs to help kids get into the bathtub. There was a shelf that had probably hundreds and hundreds of pieces of hospital equipment. Every room you went into was completely infiltrated with hospital gear.
They don't drive nice cars. Their house is falling apart. They have no flooring. Are they not finished because you have to wheel them around?
No. So between like G-tube feet, like one of them was mobile, but he had a G-tube, so crawl and it would pull and it would come out. And so you come in and puddle. So we finally just ripped up all of our carpet because it was just gross and just haven't put any down yet.
And yet they don't care. They focus on the kids. And for me, that stood out. It hit home. It made me realize that this is true love. This is humanity at its absolute highest level, unlike anything I've ever seen.
Well, I mean, I think everything happens for a reason, as you know. I mean, I'm sure things that you can look back on, you're like, well, that's why this happened. And so honestly, that's why I think one of the reasons that we had Ben was because I found my calling. That's what I tell people.
The amount of people that would not take on this responsibility. If it's your own child and you have a child that's born with a disability, it's different because you go, yeah, this is my child. You love your children. I have children, I love them more than anything in the world, and you are taking other people's children in and loving them as your own, and really, I mean, bypassing a normal life. This is not like a one-week thing for you. This is your life calling. You'll spend your entire life giving to somebody else. You must have some emotional times where you...
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, when we got Liam, I mean, he cried like all night long for the first probably 4 months.
Every night?
And I cried almost every night because I was like, wow, how am I gonna do this? Because I wasn't sleeping and it was really, really hard. But, when I would get to my breaking point, that's when, Steve would say, let me have him. And he would say, go to bed, I'll take care of him. And, he went to work full time. And so, it was then that he kind of relieved that. And then it got better. We got him, he has a lot of neurological irritability. And so, we got the right medication for him and it's gradually gotten better. It's still not super easy with him. Like my other kids, you know, they at least slept through the night. Their alarms didn't, but yeah. So it's been hard, but you know, it's worth it because the stuff that they give back to us.
It's okay. You're a good boy.
She finds herself more times than not spending more days of the year in the hospital, never knowing which child's going to come up with which illness, what's going to happen, and even more intense, that she's going to have to bury these children someday. Strong mentally and strong physically. Every day, never knows what's going to happen. She knows that this is a reality. Her reality that these children won't live a full life, but she wants to make their life the best that she possibly can while they're here, for no other reason than she loves them.
All right, let me turn this off. You want to come down, bud? Okay. All right, we're gonna go down. He's almost 100 pounds, this boy.
We all talk about how we would do the same thing, but Becky does this every single day. She stays up overnight with these kids, gets up and goes to the gym. And yet, she has forgone a lifestyle where she could travel, buy nice things. These aren't her children. She didn't give birth to these kids, but yet she still parents them, loves them unconditionally like you would love your own. An absolute selfless act, but a lesson is learned here in true inspirational form, that she has chosen love through individuals than she has love through materials.
Yeah, you gotta get in a spot where he,
Yes.
it's like trying to like,
There we go.
go.
Comfortable, Joe?
Is that better?
Hey, Joe. You don't know me, bud. We're meeting for the first
Hey, but
time.
we can be friends.
Yeah, we can be
Ah,
friends. I'll be your
yeah.
friend. Heck yeah.
What
You want to hear some music? You like music?
He loves music.
Heck yeah.
There was only one thing left to do, put a smile on these kids' faces. So we took a field trip to the kitchen. Ooh, this could be a drumstick. Okay, you got some good stuff there. And we've got pots and pans, whatever we could find to hit things with, and made music, because music is a universal language that they can feel, and they did. We're in a band called Recycle Percussion. This is one of the coolest shows we've ever played. Usually we play big shows in Las Vegas, but today, we're here. This show is for you. Get that shaking going. That sounds good. You like it?
Yes, he loves it.
You like it? This isn't just for pancakes.
Right.
This is you, buddy. You're always smiling. That's you.
Say hi.
Look how handsome you are. That's you.
He knows he's handsome. Hi, you know you're handsome.
Keep it going. Look at a little smile. Hey, Mackenzie. Keep it going. I see your smile down there. If you think we're good, smile.
Yeah! Woo!
Mackenzie, if you think we're good, shake your rattle. Yeah!
Tell me why ain't nothing but a mistake. Tell me why I never wanna hear you say I want it that way. She's loving it.
You love singing. Ready? You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. Make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. I told you! So rude. So rude.
I really knew what to expect going into this, because Becky is a friend of mine. But seeing this in person, going to her home and meeting these children and hearing the stories, it was amazing that she does this every single day. Every day she wakes up and her purpose is defined. The purpose is defined through those eyes of those children and through the hearts of those kids. It's amazing what they do every single day. And the trials and tribulations that come along with a lifestyle like this should inspire anyone. It's also a great way to remember how fortunate you are. Regardless of the circumstances you're in your life, it could always be worse. Mackenzie, that beautiful smile, that rattle rocking. And Liam is so handsome, smiling every time unless Becky's singing, "You're My Sunshine." And Joe, he's just so happy to be there. You can see in his eyes when he smiles, he looks at Becky with so much love. This is a story that I hope inspires you as much as it inspired me. Well, thank you for letting us come. We really appreciate it. Nice to meet you, buddy. Mackenzie, thanks for hanging out with us. Joe, look at that tongue. And remember, in a world full of chaos, it's always important to show your kindness.